thank you, Chairman Rogers and Mrs. Manchin and everybody for having me here today. I'm being asked to, as a businessman, to look 10 years into the future. And that's really a great question, but right now I'm just happy looking 10 days into the future. It's been an extraordinary couple of years, and think about the last 2 years. We had a combination of COVID, and the implications on business were astonishing. You could wake up in the morning and have a text that your business was shut down. And you might have had 10 or 15 or 20, 30 years of investment into that business and your employees, and you just got a note that you're out of business. And we at Rajant, within 24 hours, had a waiver to stay open. And because there's a lot of people depending upon this company, we sell equipment to the U.S. military that's used in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and other places around the world to save American soldiers' lives. So we were able to stay open, but to tie all this in, the original question is to look ahead 10 years. I think what we've been taught in the last 24 months is the need for flexibility and adaptability. As instantaneously, we had to learn how to manage a business with people working from home, which was an extraordinary challenge. And during that phase, we as a company were able to actually do a next generation engineering project and build out a complete new technology using connectivity, broadband, wireless connectivity, and just new techniques. And you had to do it on the fly. And just as we were coming through COVID, we had supply chain issues. And what does that mean? Everybody hears supply chain issues. For us, we make radios. We make radios in our Moorhead facility. And there's hundreds of components in a radio. And all of a sudden, a component that you could order in the morning and have in the afternoon, you're being told you can't get for 65 weeks. And if you can't get the component, you can't complete your radio, you can't ship, you can't collect revenue, you don't need your shipping people, you don't need your manufacturing people if you can't get the part. So our team, the Moorhead team, where we have an office, the Pennsylvania team, the Arizona team, once again, having already learned how to adapt to work from working at home, now had to figure out completely how to redesign products in real time. We had $9 parts that overnight cost $225. We had $16 parts that overnight became $500 parts. So the challenge was really pretty astonishing, and the team across the board showed tremendous adaptability and flexibility. So as part of this being asked, what to say about business going forward and the relationship between community and business and political folks in business, is somehow we have to build the understanding and the need for flexibility and adaptability into what we do. I suspect we're not going back to pre-COVID normal for a very long time, if ever. We were used to a just-in-time world up until March of 2020. We're seeing no evidence that a just-in-time world is coming back. So our team, our engineers in Moorhead, and the young folks and they're from Moorhead State University. They're trained by Dr. Ben Malfris. They were young people trained in multiple disciplines. While there was called space and science engineering, they learned hardware, they learned software, they learned how to test, they learned how to write certain types of code or learn new languages. So it was a very broad approach to an educational experience. One of the things we've learned is you have to plan on being surprised, and your people have to have tremendous collaborative skills. The ability to work with people that the day before they didn't work with. and they had to spontaneously combust around new people to learn how to solve a problem. The problem didn't exist the day before. So it's a very different approach to business, and I would suggest the same approach needs to happen with relationships with government. We've seen flexibility and adaptability. I have as a CEO in this community down here in Eastern Kentucky. People have to react because it's a challenging environment down here for whatever reason. The culture is one of adaptability and a very reactive culture. And Eastern Kentucky, in our experience, has shown an ability to be adaptable, ability to be positive. The young folks here, in our experience, have a great work ethic, one that we benefit from in our Moorhead office, and we'll continue to expand that office and expand our relationship in the area. We've been doing satellite-related research there. We've now service and support our global network of customers around 77 countries. Almost all of that takes place in Moorhead. A great deal of the technology to support those customers is designed by our employees in Moorhead. We're doing our manufacturing in Moorhead, and more of it is being pulled in. We're ISO certified, we're certified for military production. It's a first-class, high-quality facility, and I think the average age there is probably 27 or 28. It's extraordinary what our experience has been in the region. What you have already, I think, is really spectacular. You have an openness and a desire to cooperate amongst yourselves. And again, I think that putting the main mission of how do we grow our community, how do we keep young people local, how do we help businesses grow, at the root of that, if you keep that the main mission, people tend to want to cooperate. You have that sense of community and neighborhoodness here, if that's a word. You do look out for each other, and we're shortly after I'm done here in a few minutes, we're gonna have a little bit of a ceremony and provide a check for flood victims. What moved me to want to participate in that and do something about that was a photo I saw of, maybe it was September 3rd, a day or two after the flood ended. I saw a photograph of a traffic jam of pickup trucks and SUVs from outside the flood area of people in the community heading into the flood zone. Nobody made them do it. On their own, people volunteered just to help their neighbors. And that's a sentiment that you have here. And in a lot of other places, it's not quite as strong. So if you can maintain that over the next 10 years, combined with the educational institutions you have and the sense of cooperation that you have politically, I think you're going to do fine over the next 10 years. I think the region will get stronger. Focus on the things you're doing now, infrastructure such as broadband, continue to build roads and highways. Those things, those basic things that so many people take for granted, but aren't necessarily functioning well in other places around the country. Build the roads, build the broadband infrastructure, keep each other safe. I think the core of your community attitude and behavior is adequate to the task that you'll face over the next 10 years. I think educationally, some slightly different things is to expose kids to things that make them be flexible, make them stand up in class and present even though they're not expecting it. Often in business, a customer has a problem today that they didn't have yesterday, and they want a presentation today. Be exposed and expose students to things that, what's that famous thing you say when you're a kid? Do I need to be knowing this? Am I ever going to use this sometime in my life? Like at 18, you have any clue? Of course, when I was 18, I thought I knew everything I needed to know. And there's about 1,000 things I wish I had learned then. And so I see it in our own team. So many times, new business opportunities or new business problems require you to be exposed to things you never anticipated. So as teachers and professors, Ben, maybe we should do that as part of the curriculum, is expose kids to things on an ad hoc basis in a surprise form to get them used to having to adapt to the dynamic environment they're going to have to deal with. And I'll close on this. It's, right now, the world is extraordinarily dynamic and the pace is increasing. When I went to the University of Pennsylvania, it's getting to be a while ago now, the University of Pennsylvania in the graduate school, the Wharton School, was it was a national school. That was in the mid-'80s. In the '70s, Wharton was a regional school. All the students were drawn from southeastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Then in the '80s, when I went there, it was drawing students from the US. And today it's an international school. It's drawing students from all around the world. So what that means is our children, our youngsters today, as we look forward over the next 10 years, they won't be competing with people from the next county or somewhere else in Kentucky or a state nearby. They're going to be competing with kids from all around the world. They already are in a large measure, and that's only going to accelerate. So that being the case, we have to emphasize the desire for rigor and challenging coursework. I can tell you, in an engineering environment, a high-tech environment, a lot of the focus on economic development is on bringing in high tech. In high tech, there's math on the test. There's going to be math on the test. Circuits have to work. Bridges have to stand up. Airplanes have to fly. And the numbers have to add up. So a lot of times there's nice reasons to reduce the need for rigor. But I can say if you want a satellite to get into orbit, the math's got to work. And so I think in a little bit, and I'm guilty of this myself, is go back to World War II, a 21 or a 22-year-old pilot was the old man and he was the captain. A major might have been 23 or 24 and would have had thousands of men reporting to them. Young people can handle what we ask of them. And we need to be fair to them that the world is getting more challenging, not less challenging. And I think from what we've seen and the people we've hired in Moorhead, the people of this region can handle the rigor that's coming and needed and the tasks and challenges that are coming down the road. So again, thank you for letting me be part of your community. I've been welcomed from the first moment by Brett Traver. And then everybody here has been so gracious and kind over the last 6 or 7 years. I'm humbled by it. I try to participate in the community, and I will try to do more. But thank you for your time, everybody. Okay, so this is a result of what I had mentioned a little earlier. The community has been great to me and to Rajant Corporation, and we like to do what we can to help. As I thought about making this donation, it really was influenced by that photograph. But another thing, which is so many people are hurt and harmed by this, and the spotlight moves on really quickly. A week or two later, there's a hurricane and the news media moves on. And yet for somebody who lost their home or had somebody injured or somebody die in their family, they haven't moved on. And the challenge will go on for a while. So this is our way of wanting to help. So thank you. Thank you. And Missy, thank you very much. And here's the real money. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so very much. That'll be a big help. We thank you very much. Shows you the kind of person that just spoke to you. Bob Schena is the real thing. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Rogers. Thank you, everybody.